Welcome to the Life of Being podcast, where we talk about all things life from a healthcare perspective all around the world. I'm your host, Kelly Tan, and in each episode, we'll explore stories, science, and wisdom to help you live well, think deeper, and express life fully. Let's begin. Today is a special solo episode where we will wrap up 2025 and reflect back on how this platform has been created and published, and also the 8 lessons I learned from 8 wonderful guests so far in the episode. I'd like to extend my gratitude to the first few people who said yes to nothing, to say yes to a nobody. This platform initially, it was a random Saturday at the gym. I just sent a text to my good friend, Dr. Sashlyn Padayachee. I said, hey, I'm looking to start a podcast. Are you interested to be in the show? And she didn't ask anything. She didn't ask what's the name, what's the structure like, what are we doing, how long is it? She just said yes. She said, hey, I'm up for it. I'm down for it. And I was like, hey, can you do it tomorrow this timing? And she's like, yep, she can do it. So that night I went back, I thought through all the things. Name-wise, I actually been brainstorming a couple of days prior, different name ideas, but most of it has been taken. Life of Being is not taken, hence the name of the show. And then I was structuring what's the structure like, what's the format, what questions to generally ask, da-da-da-da-da. And then the next day, we just start recording and things just start off from there. This brings me to my first lesson that I've learned. So first lesson I've learned is just say yes and figure things out later. I always say, like, if there's an opportunity coming up, I'll just say yes and then just figure things out later. Like seminars or courses, I'll be just like sign up and then I'll figure out like the flights and accommodations later, which sometimes can be quite chaotic, but hey, we made it in the end. The second lesson I've learned reaching out to people is done is better than perfect. Most people, I'll say, they want to be the most perfect conversation or interview or stories that they want to curate. You can create the most, or you can think of the most perfect idea, but if you don't execute it, that's just an idea. It's the same as when at the first episode. Initially, I was thinking, okay, I have this episode that's all lined up, and then maybe I'll wait for a few, and then we'll upload it continuously in terms of schedule-wise. So like every 1 week or every 2 weeks, there'll be an episode out. Okay, so that's also how I'm thinking. Like, I want to be perfectly timed with the schedule of the contents or the episodes being uploaded. I also set my internal goal where I want the first 10 episodes to be ideally DCs. So initially I thought it would be pretty easy to find 10 people to be on the show to speak about their story. It's just a really casual conversation. It turns out it's not as straightforward as I imagined to be, because some people, they don't like it. Some people don't want to be speaking like this, or they just don't feel comfortable sharing your stories for whatever reason. So I was like, oh, okay. And then I had a gap. It's like, do I do this or do that? And then I'm glad that I've just hit publish. There was a bit of a gap in between the first episode and the consecutive episode. But as I said, done is better than perfect. Just put it out. I think what helped me is because I'm not thinking about myself. I'm thinking about, I want my goal is to shine the light on that person, for them to share the story, share your knowledge, share your wisdom, for them to use this episode for their community too. If someone is interested, they'll be like, hey, this is my episode. Can learn more about my story, why I chose this, why I did this. So it's definitely been a learning journey thus far. I said 8 lessons from 8 different guests. There is one special shout out I want to give is to Tanri Ping. She was also one of the first few people that said yes. That was also what I was thinking, okay, when I had that gap, I was like, okay, should I just upload this episode or should I wait? Should I actually do 10 episodes of DCs? Spoiler alert, we do have more than 10 episodes that's DCs that was lined up for 2026 already. So we're excited to get that scheduled, get it done, get it scheduled, and also be inviting and bringing more guests to shine their story, shine a light in this platform. So I'm going to go through 8 lessons I've learned from 8 guests so far in this platform, going in chronological order. So the first one is by none other than Dr. Sashlyn Padayachee. Dr. Sashlyn has always been a sounding board for myself. She always gives a great perspective in terms of life. The thing that I learned from her is we are all just humans. We're all just going through life for the first time. And this reminds me of a quote by Steve Jobs saying that everything around you that you call life was made up by people no smarter than you, and you can change it and you can influence it. And the other thing that Dr. Sashlyn has mentioned, she's been dropping lots of jam, by the way, so I'll link all the episodes in the description below. You can click it, listen to the wonderful episode, and also let us know what is your one key takeaway from the conversations that we had. The other thing that we learned from our conversation is ask yourself this. Sit down, ask yourself this. Am I truly happy? For whatever reason you're gonna die tomorrow, are you truly happy for yourself? This also reminds me of another quote that you're gonna ask yourself, if you're going to die, are you about to do the things that you're gonna do today? And if the answer has been no in a consecutive day, you know that you need to change. And I believe that's from Steve Jobs. So lots of gems from Dr. Sashlyn's conversation. Highly recommend to listen to that. Second episode is with Dr. Renita Rasmann. She is a wonderful person, and she's the first person that I shadowed. The advice that I learned from her through our conversation is also the first advice she gave to me when I was shadowing her up in Liverpool. She said 2 words: chiropractic works. I remember when I was shadowing her, I was coming from a student, coming out, fresh grad, don't know what it is, don't know what we're doing as based on our institute that we got our qualifications from. She said that, and I was like, wow. And that resonates with how, when I was shadowing her, she has such certainty in what she does. And as a student, that is admirable. I was really excited when she said yes. And to know about her story, she was also coming from a perspective where she doesn't know what she's doing. And when she gave that advice, it was actually for herself also. So it's really, 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 really great to hear her story and hear how we are slowly understanding what chiropractic is and to spread the message. So really great conversation that we had. The third person is Dr. Rebecca Liong. So with Dr. Rebecca Liong, I was also amused by her learning, and what I learned from her, some key phrases that I learned from a conversation is, don't be afraid to make a change. Speaking with people, they're just so intelligent, and I'm really grateful to have this platform to share the story and for me to learn about their story also. So with Dr. Rebecca Liong, she was saying, don't be afraid to make a change. This was the advice she gave to people, to students, and also to herself. She said that in the university, they taught you plan A or the route A. But also there's many different routes to reach the destination B, C, D, E, F, G. How would you know? You will need to work out which one works the best for yourself personally. And the other thing is, she was also saying that everything takes time. So it's a process. You can't rush through things. And the same as principle 6 of the chiropractic principle, where there is no process that does not require time. So that's a good reminder to put in the work and the result will take care of themselves. The next guest we have is Dr. Fabrizio Marino. Again, I'm just fascinated by how everything comes to a full circle. So Dr. Fabrizio was my senior when I was in my clinical year back in uni, and I didn't know that he was someone who is reading all the chiropractic books already. What I like from our conversation, lots of gems from Dr. Fabrizio also. I really like the building on fire analogy, where if if I just say, hey, can you just like knock the door and ask them to do whatever it is, they'll be like, no, you're crazy, why you want to ask them to do it? But if the building is on fire, you be banging those doors asking him to get out of the house, isn't it? And so what I really like about his perspective, this is probably something that everyone should adopt, where you're so selfish that you don't tell people what you do, even when you know that this is going to be life-changing for them, just because you're afraid of being judged. Let that sink in. I guess that was also a hurdle I was going through, where I don't get people judged by this and that. But again, it goes back to the phrase that this is not about you. Since when this is about you? It's never about you. The other thing I like is he was talking about a learning from a mentor that was mentoring a mentee. And then the mentee was complaining about this, that. And then the mentor was saying, the door is open, right? So you're just complaining about this thing, but actually the door's just there. I guess at that point of time, that was also something that resonates with me. And I feel like everyone that came on was supposed to be there. And there are some lessons that I learned from them that resonates with myself at that point of time. So I'm super grateful with all the conversations that we had so far. The next person we have is Dr. Liong Burke. He is such a great storyteller also. Another great guest. Dr. Liong was talking more about coming back to yourself, the language of the body, how you create the safety state. Really fascinated by how he's traveling everywhere, different parts of the world, coming back to here and going back to nature, going back to coming back to yourself. So that was the phrase that I learned. It's crazy to think that the next day I was working in the practice in the office and someone else was saying that, hey, I'm having this out of body experience and I feel like I'm just grounded to myself. So yeah, it's crazy how things is just lessons for you to learn and knowledge and wisdom that's all around you, and you just need to see it. Number 6, we have Dr. Jēkabs Collins. Dr. Jēkabs is an interesting perspective. Again, we were also from the same institute, so to know where his perspective
is on, and to know that he's on his path, to know that, hey, there's something in the adjustment that is something unique to chiropractic. And that I learned from him is also the fear of not delivering enough. This is something that most fresh grad will have from where we're coming from. And that's the same as you're not having certainty. It's because you don't know what you're doing. You don't know why you're doing it. Again, you don't know what you're doing, which is a shame from... Imagine if you go to a school, you're learning about something. Like, say, if you learn about finance, you spend 3 years in finance, and you come out, you can't do finance stuff. That is unfortunately the state of a few institute at the moment. I'd say a few is probably more than a few. Coming out, we don't know what is the definition of chiropractic. We don't know what we're doing. We know it's maybe just a tool in the toolbox. Maybe can help this person. So all this different uncertainty is also one of the reasons why I want to share what is chiropractic, or what is this about. And yeah, I mean, to see where Dr. Jēkabs has been more exploring different seminars, different courses, learn different things, and slowly find that, oh, actually, we need to focus on this, and it goes on complement with all the different things, because there's no other profession that can do what you do. There's no other profession that can deliver the adjustment like you. So really good to come back to that knowing. The next guest we have is Dr. Danny Scahill. Fun story. So Dr. Danny wasn't supposed to be in the list this early, but he found out there was this platform, and he was like, hey, some little birdie saying that there's this thing coming out. It's like, okay, you're actually in the list, but not so early, but do you want to be in? And she's like, yeah, sure. So really, really kind, generous person. Thing I learned from him is the mindset, the balance, and also energy divided is growth diluted. That was when he was talking about a story where he almost do 2 different offices, 2 different practices simultaneously. The thing that stuck to me the most is actually, it's nothing personal, it's just business. Again, that's probably what reflects to me in that point of time. The last guest that we have uploaded this year, there's quite a few guests that's lined up for 2026, but the last guest that's been uploaded for 2025 is Dr. Edmund Tso. It's a privilege to have Dr. Ed, and for this to be his first platform, him saying yes to this, to share a story, share his experience. This is not the only first podcast or interview from him. There's actually quite a few people that is also their first time, and they'll be like, hey, do you want to be in the show? It's like, yeah. So we're truly, truly grateful, so blessed to have good people around for them to say yes, getting out of their comfort zone and share their story. So with Dr. Ed, really amazing person. I'm so happy that he's finally found his balance from getting the coaching by Dr. Danny, Chiropractic Mindset Mastery. What I learned from him is, it is not time that helps you grow, it is what you do with the time. So some people can be 10 years in practice, but still don't know what you're doing, still not achieving what a young, ambitious, driven doctor that's been just putting in the work for a good solid 1 year, or just not the time that passed, or the practice you put in and training put in, but it's the deliberate practice that levels you up to the next level, to where we want to go. The other thing that I learned is the black belt is the white belt that showed up every single day. It always seems like, hey, this person is so out of reach, he's doing so good and so great, but what you didn't notice is the effort, the time, the training, the practice that people have put in behind this before they shine a light and overnight success that took 10 years to accomplish. So the black belt is the white belt that showed up every single day, and that's just putting in the work, putting in effort. That sums up the 8 wisdoms that I learned from 8 amazing individuals. I'm still so grateful for all of them to say yes and just share their story. And I hope that people will find value from the episodes too, the contents that they have, the story that they share, and even if that changed just one person, that's all that matters. So for 2026, we will continue bringing more people. There's a few episodes that's been lined up already. I'm just so grateful for everyone who just said yes to come to share this story. So I'm truly grateful, and also the listeners to listen to someone's story and hopefully get something good out of it and change their life for the better. Stay tuned for 2026. More people to come, more great guests to share their story in this platform. And as I said, I'll link down all the episodes. Highly recommend to listen to them. Just share with us what is your one key takeaway from the episodes. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We'll see you in 2026.
Thank you for tuning in to the Life of Being podcast. Let us know what is your one key takeaway from this episode. And if this conversation inspired you, share it with a friend who might find it helpful today. Until next time, take care of your health and take care of your being.